everyone, this is Starzenith33, Laura Francesca here at Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, and many other platforms. How is everybody doing today? I hope everybody is doing well. I'm going to be talking about the astro weather here of what is going on with the Capricorn Moon and what aspects it's making and all that jazz. We've been, it's been a little bit more calm, I would say, a little bit more calm since the ceasefire and since Capricorn rules politics and it rules business and it rules real estate and all that juicy stuff. Let's head in there and talk about what is going on. I don't know why I said head. Head is very Aries, and I do have a solar moon in Aries, this year. So could be that. Okay, let's jump in there. Okay, so I looked at the chart. I have to jump back in here doing the episodes here on the astro weather. I've just been really taking a lot of time on my website, which is completed already. I don't think I have anything else to, well, I do have a little more to add on there, but I think we're good for now. And so if anybody wants to head over there, it's www.starzenith, that's S-T-A-R, Zenith, Z-E-N-I-T-H, 33.com. Very simple, very short. And I will talk a little bit about where that Star Zenith name came from. I have talked about it in X. And for those that want to know why or where I came up with that name, well, literally I did not come up with it. I am tapped in other realms and I have a spiritual team on other sides that help me and guide me in this world here as a reincarnated person. And I think I've done pretty well, and I don't take full credit. A lot of it has been guidance that I've, a little bit, not a lot, of I should do this or I should do that, or I should change my name or this and this. And so Star Zenith came to me in a dream. I say it's Steve Jobs. I don't know, because I do feel him around me. I do feel a lot of powerful people around me, and that are invisible. And so Star Zenith was whispered to me, in my dream, and it said you're Star Zenith, like that's your name, And I added 33 because I'm a 33 life path, 33-6. And so in my dream, it was something so fascinating because I was, speaking of the Capricorn Moon, I think it's perfect for me to talk about this because I was going to a convention. It was a business convention and a lot of entrepreneurs were going to be there, and it was in San Francisco. So I've never been to San Francisco. I would like to go to San Francisco one day, and it will happen. So, but in my dream, it's weird because a lot of times I have my dreams and locations will pop up in my dreams that I've never been to. So I'm taking it's a sign that I need to go to those places. Drinking some ice cold coffee. And so, in my dream, I went to this convention in San Francisco, and there was some similar faces there, that I had seen. So weird. And so I'm not going to go into that other video, but I seen this guy that I used to work with, and I think he had a crush on me. And, he was there as well with Taylor Swift. It was really odd. And I just kind of show up, it's kind of like him. He was at the same convention, and I guess I rejected him, and I only did it not because he's not attractive, not because he's not successful, because he was, and he made a lot of money and very popular and very known. And I was just like, oh, wow, you're into me? Okay. But for me, I wasn't really open to love, to tell you the truth. And this has more to do like when I was in network marketing. And I was not into it because, and I did it for his safety, because there was a lot of competition and so forth. And I just didn't want to involve him in all this drama. I was trying to get out of all this drama. And I was actually just protecting him by rejecting him. And just, it just wouldn't have worked out because then he would have got attacked. And it's so unfortunate that things like that happen, of these insecure, immature, amateurs in the business that, are not in it for the real reason. You know what I mean? And it's so unfortunate. Like, who are you? You're not God. You can't come against two people, that want to probably come together and, and see. And it's kind of sad because I think it would have worked out, you know. And but I just kept rejecting him because I was just like, no, because I know this is going to burst into a bigger bubble and there's going to be like more arguments, more fights. And it's going to be impossible for us to be together unless we have to be like super quiet and go in hiding out. And I don't want to live that way. You know what I mean? I don't want to go in hiding. I want to be proud of who I am and I want to be put in the limelight. And, if I'm not doing that, I'm not walking in my truth. So, but no matter what, he was blessed, I was blessed, we have God in our lives. So it's not like, it was just so freaking immature. You know what I mean? A lot of it is because they don't feel good enough and they feel they need to separate other people. And, I know, I think all of us, go through that phase, like we are attracted to someone and then we feel we can't get anybody better. You know what I mean? Like that's the best we can do, right? And a lot of it has to do with your self-esteem because that's a big fat lie. Okay, you can get better, but you also have to put in the work, right? And but a lot of times we have a crush on someone or we feel attached to someone because they're perceived as money and they're like our bank account, right? And they feel they can do better. Like, no, I don't have eyes for nobody else. That's it. And no, that's not the truth. And so instead of trying to find someone that is a gold mine, right? Instead of finding someone that is your bank account, that you can just go to that and just cha-ching, pull some money out, which is for lazy people, by the way. You're not supposed to be siphoning because that's karmic, okay? That will return back to sender, okay? And then you're going to be broke, okay? And you don't want that to happen. And I know that by experience. And not that I siphon on people. No, it's that it's been happened to me and now they're broke. Okay. And now, they're in this hole and they can't seem to get out. So anyway, and especially if you're trying to steal from a 33, what's wrong with you? Why are you even trying to do that? It's like trying to steal from me is trying to steal from a billionaire, a super mega billionaire. I would even say a trillionaire, okay, because that's how powerful my frequency is. And why would you even want to do that? You're going to get karma for that. You and your entire family is going to get karma when you try to steal from a 33. That's just it is what it is, okay? So I suggest you don't do that. I suggest if you're trying to do that, you better drop it, okay? Because then you and all your family are going to be poor, okay? And you don't want to be there. So anyway, um, so I went to this convention and he was there, but then he was with Taylor Swift, right? And it was kind of like, I don't know. I guess kind of like, yeah, look, I'm with Taylor Swift now, you know? And I'm like, Taylor Swift, like, oh my God, of all the celebrities, had to be Taylor Swift, right? So, but I was like, that's fine. Congratulations, I guess, like whatever. But it was kind of, I was just like, what? Taylor Swift? Like, I guess he moved up, you know what I mean? And so, but for me, I was just like, good for you, you know what I mean? Like, no beef, nothing, you know what I mean? Like, that's good. Good for you. And So then he disappeared. I don't know where he went with her. I think they went on a glass elevator. Yeah, they were going on a glass elevator. I also hopped on the glass elevator, but it was on the opposite side. It was right across from it because they had too many elevators. And so they went up and I went on the other elevator. But before I hopped on that elevator, I seen the band of, this is why I think it all ties to Steve Jobs, because I seen the band of the Beatles. Okay, and I don't really know a lot of the music of the Beatles because I didn't grow up around the Beatles, but we all hear about them through, through other older people and stuff about the Beatles and stuff, and their music and their movies. They had really good music. It was empowering music, music of love. And so what happened was that they were singing the song of I forgot what song it was. I forgot what song it was, but it was a Beatles song, and then they were singing. The band was right outside the convention, right in front of the convention, and they just started playing, And I knew it was the Beatles because it said the Beatles, and they were all wearing all black jackets and stuff. And I was like, oh wow, that's the Beatles. And so I just kind of listened to their music a little bit before I went in, and then that's when I heard Star Zenith. They even said that I was Star Zenith. They said Star Zenith, and I pointed at me like, what? Like they're talking to me? They're like, yeah, you, Star Zenith. And I was like, okay. I just kind of laughed a little bit. I said, okay, well, I gotta go. And then that's when I hopped on the elevator and I went up to the convention. And when I woke up, I was like, Star Zenith. And then I started researching star. It's a star, right? Like you illuminate your star. That's very Aquarius. I do have my Jupiter in Aquarius conjunct the MC. And for those that don't know astrology, the MC is the midheaven, right? It's the highest top of the chart in your birth chart. Is called the midheaven, the MC. And it has to do with your career, your status, your fame, your applause, your recognition, how people perceive you from far, right? They perceive you as a star. When it's in Aquarius, that means that they perceive you as a star, as somebody illuminating, somebody that is intelligent. So maybe even an alien or something, or you're just from another world, or you're a little bit odd, a little bit weird, or you're an influencer because Aquarius also rules influencers. And so that's my midheaven, my career, my 10th house. And when it comes together with Jupiter, it's even more expansive. It's kapow, right? And it's even more bigger than life. The MC is already big there at the top, but when you got Jupiter sitting right next to it and Mars, okay, is right on my MC, that's like fireworks. That is like kapow. And so I understood why they call me Star Zenith. Zenith is the very top of the chart. Okay, especially in astrocartography, a lot of it, like Jupiter, like I have in astrocartography, which has to do with the maps. I have LA to tell the West Coast here, San Diego too, and Orange County, and it's I have the Jupiter on Zenith. Okay, so when Jupiter is on Zenith, it's the 10th house there, the MC. And that's how you read maps, though. We're not reading astrology, we're reading the maps, the astrocartography. So in the maps, it's read as Jupiter on Zenith. And that's the highest. And so it's somebody that's illuminating and so forth in Aquarius. So that's why I understand why they call me Star Zenith. I'm hearing something about April. April's coming through. I don't know why. So, well, we are in April, right? A lot of brand new things. April is Aries energy, is brand new beginnings. I don't know. I always do things in April. I don't know what it is. I've always, even like when I started network marketing, I started it in April. Every time I create websites or something, it starts in April. I don't know what it is about April. Well, it's a brand new beginning, but it's very, for me, I do a lot of things in April. So, and I do have my website out there already. so people can start booking if they want to, if they're curious in getting a reading, you can go to the website. Or if you want to do a consultation with me for an hour, well, I have an hourly rate on there. And oh my God, a hummingbird. Oh, so cute. It wanted to come inside my room because I have the window open. I seen it through my computer. I seen the shadow of it, like, oh, what is it doing over here visiting? And that's the second hummingbird today. Okay, I see one over there by the kitchen, and now I see it here on my bedroom, which is so. It loves the what is it that I think is, it's not an avocado. It is a guayaba. I have a guayaba tree, and it likes to, pick at the little fruit on there and stuff. And they like sweetness stuff, so it does come over here. So anyway, let's start off with the moon in Capricorn. Okay, the moon in Capricorn. Let me refresh here. But I just wanted to talk a little bit about where that name came from. Okay, so ever since then, I named myself Starzenith33. And that's because the Beatles named me that. So anyway, the moon right now is at 17 degrees right now, 17 degrees of Leo. So it's very entertainment, very performance. Um, and it's coming together with Folis. Okay, Folis is the asteroid of business in the sign of Capricorn. It's at 13 degrees of initiation. So there is something going on with business that are starting over, that are doing resets, or that are getting destroyed. Okay, and something brand new is happening, you know, with the moon in Capricorn. It's our emotions of how we feel about something that is about to commence. It could be something to do with entertainment, with Hollywood, with music, with film. And let me see, it's which is so interesting because it might not be tied to all of it, but it might be tied maybe to Christian films, Christian music, or something like that, because it is coming together. The moon in Capricorn is coming together with Christian in Capricorn. And let me get my glasses here. Okay, it's at 19 degrees where this asteroid of Christian is of Libra. So it has to do with balance. Okay, it has to do with balance. It has to do with justice, and it could rule judgment and courts and lawyers, attorneys. Something to do with how we feel about business, how we feel about the entertainment industry. And it could be changing when Christianity is right next to the moon in Capricorn in the same sign of Capricorn. It probably could be something to do with music turning very Christian based. And that is what I see there. And because Folis is sitting right next to it as well, it might be that music might be improving. Like we're not hearing no more rapping music, of men degrading women and so forth. Maybe the music is starting to be more clean, the music industry, because it has something to do with Folis that just gets destroyed. Okay, and something gets rebuilt when it comes to Christianity. When it comes to, it probably could be worship music, and it has something to do with business, something starting over. So let's see. The moon is trining Venus right now. Okay, so that's a good thing. Okay, when the moon trines Venus, here in Taurus, okay, they're both earth signs. They both get along very well. Taurus and Capricorn, and where Venus is at 12 degrees of completion. Okay, so Venus in Taurus has probably gone through, and this is for the collective. This is not just for one particular person. Okay, this is for everybody around the world. Okay, a lot of us might feel we've completed some sort of frequency when it comes to love and wealth, and how we feel. I'm hearing source as well, God. because the 12th degree, it is a Pisces degree, okay? And it is something about also completion, something that is completed, that is whole. Okay, you might feel whole in yourself. You might love yourself so much that you completed, and I don't know how other people feel, but when it's in Taurus, it's very earthy. It's about plants. You feel whole. You feel maybe if you don't have a partner. I mean, I think a lot of people, I think everybody, is God's divine plan for us to be with a partner, right? And I feel that there are some people that are okay not having a partner, that, they have friends, or they have family, or they run a business, or maybe they're too busy running a business, that they don't really have time for love, especially these times that, we're going through, and we're trying to strategize of how to move forward and so forth. And but then at times they do want a partner. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm that type of person that I am focused on my business, but I will make time. I will make time for somebody in my life, that I can trust, and we can do things, and we could travel, and have fun, and all that stuff, right? But if I don't meet that type of person, I'd rather be by myself. There's a quote that says in Spanish, that says, "I'd rather be alone than in bad company." And that is my motto for me. I'd rather be single, or just by myself, right? Independently by myself, but not, I'm not ever by myself. I have God in my life, okay? And I have people, and I have my family. But, you know, there are times that I do feel that I would like a partner, but there are times that I rather be by myself, because I completed um, this, like, I completed my self-esteem, well, not completely. I mean, we all got issues here and there. We're not always going to be all perfect, but I feel that, I don't know, I guess because I'm losing weight, and I'm feeling good about myself. My hair is growing healthy, and I'm taking care of my hair. It's not just, it's a miracle. Oh my gosh, like, no, I'm taking vitamins, and all of that. And I feel pretty good about myself. I mean, I'm not complaining about, I mean, as far as, like fashion, and yeah, I don't have the best fashion, but, I do have, clothes, a closet full of clothes. You know what I mean? I wear a lot of tank tops. I wear very sporting clothes, like very Aries. And so for me, it's just, I'm a very sporty girl, I just wear tank tops and leggings and tennis shoes, and I'm out the door, and a hat. And that's what you'll see me, Um, so I will dress up if I go out. I mean, if I go to a restaurant, yes, I will wear a dress, but I'm not going to be wearing a dress just to walk around here. Are you crazy? I'll get raped. Um, and that's only because of the environment around here, but well, not literally raped, but you know what I mean? Probably kidnapped or something. I don't know. Not kidnapped, but you just never know, because I've ran into a lot of weird people around here. A lot. Okay. And I am not trying to tempt them. I'm just not. So right now we might feel completed. Some Venus females might feel completed. They don't need to prove anything. They feel good in their skin. They feel good in their hair. They feel good because they're losing weight. Maybe they're probably feeling a little bit more sexier. Maybe they're showing a little bit more skin, or whatever it is. I'm not at that point yet, but you know what I mean? I'm making improvements, and I'm eating less sugar and less things that are tempting, and that's helping me lose weight. And I was even thinking of becoming a vegetarian, only because, when you become a vegetarian, you look really young, your hair's really healthy. And I was a vegetarian in Arizona. And I remember when I started becoming a vegetarian, my hair was so silky, so shiny, my face was glowing. I was losing weight. I got way taller, like super tall, because I was losing so much weight. And with all these Aries that we have right now, a lot of people are going to be losing weight because it rules fire, okay? And we're going to be shedding weight, also because it's going to be really hot. And Leo hasn't even entered in Jupiter yet, and Uranus hasn't entered Gemini, but it's on its way. So it is going to be really hot. And I feel a lot of people, when you have this much Aries, you tend to lose weight. Okay. You tend to have bodies like Aries. If you notice, Aries, they have long limbs, they have long legs. If you notice people that do Pilates, they're very like air. Those are type of Aries bodies. Okay. Very long arms, long legs, long feet. It's so interesting because I have Aries in the 12th house. 12th house rules the feet. And my feet are very Aries, very athletic, like very long. I say I have big feet. I do. I've always had big feet. But it's not fat feet. It's skinny feet. Like Aries. So my feet is very long, just like an athlete's feet. And I'm proud of my feet. I like my feet. I really do. I really do. It's muscular, like very bony and stuff. But I do like my feet. It's not really like chubby feet and stuff like that. Like that would be more like Taurus. Like Taurus in the 12th house would be like chubby feet. Or, those chubby feet, like those babies that have like really chubby feet and stuff. But no, I'm in Aries 12th house. So my feet is very Aries. So anyway, but right now, I do have a moon in Aries, okay, in my solar chart. I have a lot of Aries this year. And a lot of people right now where their birthdays is happening, especially right now, that Mars, I'm not sure, did Mars already enter Aries? Let me look at Mars because, yes, it did. Oh, wow. Okay. Well, you know what? It's a good thing. I prefer Mars there than Pisces, to tell you the truth, because with Pisces, Mars and Pisces can be very aggressive and it can be very bipolar, you know. It can be very aggressive with Mars and Pisces and not actually doing what you need to do, just it's performance. Marilyn Monroe had Mars and Pisces. And unfortunately, she got caught up in drugs and she passed away. So she also was taken advantage a lot. Mars and Pisces get taken advantage a lot. So, but they're very spiritual, okay? They're very spiritual, very intuitive, very psychic. But they could be seen as actors, actresses. Very Marilyn Monroe. But now that it's in Aries, okay, this is more action, because Pisces is more going with the flow and so forth. And with Aries, it's more about taking action. Okay, so we're feeling like taking action. Just like I said, you know what? Let me jump in the podcast. Let me do it really quick because I do have other things that I do have to take care of as well. And in the house and stuff like that. And I'm waiting for some packages and all this other stuff too. And I want to make sure that they arrive because I've been having a lot of problems with my mail. Okay, and I have complained about it, and it's messy. It's really messy. Then they have to find the packages and all this other stuff. And I'm just gonna take a little break on that. So, but other than that, Mars in Aries is about taking action. It is about, creating results and so forth. And, it's interesting because it is conjuncting Saturn. Okay. For the first time, they say in over 700 years, we haven't had, well, we have had Mars and Saturn, but we haven't had, with Neptune there. Okay. So we got Mars conjunct Neptune and Saturn as well in the mix. Okay. So we got Saturn, Neptune, and Mars. Okay. All in the sign of Aries now. And we're going historically to the past of but it doesn't have to be exactly how it was in the past, but there's some similarities, frequencies with the past, okay? But let's talk about over here. So the with the moon in Capricorn, that has to do with business. Right now it has to do with entertainment. There's something going on with the entertainment industry right now, okay? So it is making a trine to Venus here in Taurus. And I have several asteroids. Let me see what, okay, we got Rico, which is rich Italian. We got Silver. Let's see. We got Midas touch. Anything you touch turns to gold. Abundancia. This is on the sign of Taurus, okay? And Italia is in Taurus as well, which is so interesting because it's at 24 degrees of prophecy. There's something going on with Italy. And then the part of fortune is in Taurus as well, okay? At 26 degrees of wealth, of banks. So something going on also with banks, maybe Italy banks or something like that. It looks like there's a lot of prosperity right now. Something to do with Italy. Okay. Let's see. But I do have to say Algo is there with hanging around with Uranians. Okay. So the unexpected, watch the neck. Okay. Because people could be having neck problems or head problems or anything like that. So that's very important to watch. But right now with Taurus energy right now with the Venus, it starts off at Venus and then goes all the way down, 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 down in the asteroids to 26 degrees of part of fortune. Okay, so there's something fortunate with real estate. Okay, because 26 degrees is a degree of Taurus. Taurus rules real estate, it rules restaurants, it rules food, it rules all of that in the sign of Taurus. It doesn't have to be Italy, okay? Taurus, we know it also resembles, not resembles, but it has a frequency of Hispanics as well. Latinos, you know, anything. I mean, even in Cuba, they have bulls. Okay, the bulls do all their work, like they pull all their, I don't know if it's coffee or pineapple. No, pineapples, I think that's Hawaii. um but I don't know, there's something about the crops in Cuba, and so they use these bulls to pull all of the, like, I don't know if it's sugar cane or something around there. But they use bulls to pull all of their cargo, their crops, and all of that. So in Mexico, we know if you have a bull in your ranch, you're known to be wealthy because it takes a lot of money, okay, to take care of a bull. And in Mexico, they don't just have one bulls, they'll have a big old ranch and they'll have like 10 bulls in there, you know, or maybe like 6 bulls. If you go to somebody's ranch and you know they have bulls in their backyard, oh, they're wealthy, okay? Because it takes a lot to feed just one bull, you know? And so that's interesting there with this Taurus energy. We also know it rules Wall Street. It also rules restaurants and real estate and all of that, okay? And you might have Taurus in your chart. I do, you know. I'm a Taurus rising, okay, which is my ascendant, which is how people perceive me as a bull. Not that I'm bullish or anything like that. I'm just a business person. And I don't play games. I don't play games. So, you know, I'm very, you know, defensive and authoritative towards what's mine. And I will defend what's mine. So, you know, a Taurus energy also is very, it just, yeah, we're known as being stubborn, but being stubborn for the right reasons, you know, of making things work and so forth. But if we see something that's valuable, we're not going to let it go. We're just not. Okay. And so everything for Taurus, everything's valuable. Everything's real estate. Even a person will be real estate. If you have a partner and you think he's valuable or she's valuable, then the Taurus in you is not going to let that person go, because that is real estate to you, you know? And so that's something there, a golden nugget there about Taurus that for those that want to know. So maybe you might be perceived a little bit like that. Um, so So it's getting along there with Venus. Okay, the moon right now is getting along with Venus. Let's go to this square here. The moon is squaring the sun in Aries. Okay. Um, so we know, Aries and Capricorn, they're not the best of friends, but you could overlap it and sandwich it both, right? So the frequency of Aries right now with the sun is at 20 degrees of Scorpio. So what's being illuminated right now are these leaders that are type of Scorpio, okay, that is squaring the moon in Capricorn, okay? And let me look at where the sun is at. The sun is in the eighth house, okay? Uh, it would be a house of transformation. It would be of we have, right? And there might be a problem there with that square to the moon in Capricorn, because the moon in Capricorn might be like, but this is not yours, right? And so the sun might feel entitled. In it might be a leader that's a Scorpio, Aries Scorpio, that might feel entitled to your assets, might be entitled to your frequency. And the moon in Capricorn at 17 degrees of Leo, it might be, it's that royal, it's that royal frequency. It's like, this is not yours though. This is mine, you know? And in order for you to have this, you got to work your ass off, you know? You just can't feel that you're entitled to it, you know? And so there could be issues there, because where we have the moon, it's in the fifth house. Okay, the fifth house of life, the fifth house of I express myself, it's enjoyment, love affairs, children, pleasures, amusement parks, games, speculations, hobbies, gambling, taking a chance, the lottery, and so forth. It's also rules Hollywood, any form of entertainment, dating as well. And so it's a fun house. I like the fifth house. The fifth house is the fun house. And because it's being challenged over here, more serious on the sun in Aries. It's in a more serious house, right? Of the eighth house of we have, like, no, but wait, like, remember, like, we used to work together. I'm like, and the moon in Capricorn is like, no, I don't remember. Oh, you want to befriend me now. Oh, you want part of my money now. Now you want to be my friend, right? And you know, and it's that kind of situation. So what's going on is something like that. Okay. It could be so immature, or it could be more business like, when it comes to corporate and trying to steal assets. So be careful. Do be careful right now with that square, because what's being illuminated is the sun in Aries. Something's being illuminated about the sun in Aries. That's a Scorpio. Okay. Something is illuminating. The sun is shining the light on this person. Okay. That's trying to challenge you when it comes to your worth, when it comes to of of who you are you really royalty? If I can take it away from you, they're not really royalty then. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. And so it could be very, but this moon is right next to Christianity. So this moon is being protected by this Christian asteroid at 19 degrees of justice. And said, not on my watch. Not on my watch. Aries, Scorpio, you're not stealing off my child. I'm protecting my child here. And my child runs businesses right here with Foles. And we will destroy whatever business that we have to, you know? And so it could be something like that. It could be, yeah, there could be a lot of drama. When the moon is in Capricorn, it affects Aries, it affects Cancers, and it affects Libras. Okay, those are all cardinal signs. And they all get affected when the moon's in Capricorn. It will either oppose you or it will square you. And they all rule leadership, but they rule leadership in a very different way, you know. And Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. I would say the most powerful of all those cardinal signs would be Capricorn, because it rules business, it rules politics, and we know politics runs the world, right? And it rules billionaires, right? It rules men and stuff. So there's that. Um, Another thing too. So it's getting along there. It's squaring the sun. Something's being illuminated. Um, it is opposing Jupiter. Okay, and so when it does oppose Jupiter over here in Cancer, um, at 16 degrees of ancestry. Let me see what else is coming together with it. Israel is coming together with Jupiter, okay? And it's at 13 degrees of initiation of something brand new. And so when this asteroid of Israel is coming together with Jupiter and it is being opposed with the moon in Capricorn, those are just two different type of energies. The Jupiter in Cancer has to do with families, real estate, and the moon over here, it has to do more, over here we have Christian asteroid, and then over there with Jupiter we have Israel, right? So there's two opposing sides, but it's the same religion. It's God, it's Jesus, it's Yeshua, and it I like oppositions because they're not squares. Squares are more challenging. Okay, squares is like you got to go back to the drawing table. You got to strategize. You got to make a plan. You got to make sure everybody agrees on the. It takes longer to resolve a square than an opposition. An opposition is like, okay, I see your opinion. I have my opinion, and we're just gonna have to agree upon that. You know what I mean? Agree to disagree. Like that's okay that you believe in that. I believe in this, and that's that. And we drop it, right? But a square is much more challenging. A square is required for you to bring up a solution with the square here, the challenging square. And oppositions are very minimal, it's not really a big deal. It's just two different type of frequencies, and you just got to accept each other's frequencies. And that is what's happening, right? Especially because it involves politics, it involves business. When it comes to business, sometimes you got to fold a little. You got to think about Trump. He, is all MAGA, Christianity, and so forth, but he has to go to Iran, right? He has to go to Saudi Arabia, right? And they're treating him like a king over there in Saudi Arabia, but yet there's wars going on with Iraq, you know. And so when he went to Saudi Arabia, you know, he's in another country, right? So he has to fold a little, you know. Maybe not a lot for purpose of business, right? Or maybe a lot, I don't know. But there are certain situations that you got to do when it comes to business, and fold a little, bend back a little, for the sake of it, but not completely where you're gonna, you know, m- you know, where you're gonna convert into another religion or something like that. You know what I mean? So these are two different type of opinions with Jupiter and Israel, and then the moon over here in Capricorn with Christianity. And it's just like Christians, they believe that God's uh, children and or preferred children is Jewish people. And you know Christians, do know that because in the Bible it talks about, Jesus was a Jew, but they just didn't want to accept that he was a Jew at that time. And I think there's been more progress today of his acceptance as a Jew, that he was a Jew, and maybe he was just not so expressive, and maybe he didn't want to prove anything because Jesus was a rebel, right? And he didn't want to abide, they didn't abide to the whole Sabbath or nothing like that either. And it's very rule like, with the Jewish, like you can't work. I think Saturdays is when you don't work. And I know that because I used to work with Jews. When I was in business and our marketing, I worked with the team of like well, the guy, he was a Gemini. Oh, he is a Gemini. He's still alive. He's a young guy. And he was a Jew. I'm pretty sure he's still a Jew. And, he wore the whole cap thing that they wear and everything. Very proud to be a Jew. And so that's the team player of the team that I was under. Um, it was with a Jew. So I was working with Jews. And at that time, I didn't know astrology. I didn't know about any of this, right? And so it's just interesting because his leader that he was under was another Jew, okay? And that Jew was a Leo. And so I think he's still alive too. And they're all young people. And I say was because I don't work in that business anymore, but it's just fascinating that now that I understand about astrology and I've dealt more deeper into deeper astrology, um, I see that the Israel asteroid for my chart, not for this, but for my chart, I have it in Leo. So there we go. And that was the my team leader's leader uh, was a Jew and he was a Leo. So it was aligned with my chart, that I had to work under that team. And because I have Israel in Leo, the asteroid of Israel and Leo with silver and Regulus, which is wealth and riches and royal and fame. And a Regulus, that's what it stands for, and is represented by Leo in Leo at the very last degree of Leo. So lots of Leo there. And so now I'm like, oh, wow. Okay. Now I understand why maybe I had to work with them. And had the best teaching from them as well of how to run a business and so forth. And he's the one that did say she's going to go far. Of my the team I was under, he's the one that said she's going to go far. She's going to do something big. And it's like maybe he had a vision of me doing something big. But anyway, so let's see, what do we have? What else do we have? So the moon in Capricorn right now is doing moves. It's the moon is trining Fortuna, so that's a good thing. Okay, it's trining abundancia as well as abundance. Okay, which is in Taurus. It's trining Midas. I said anything you touch turns to gold. Um, let's see. The moon is also conjuncting Moni. Okay, Moni is big wealth, okay, big money, extra money coming to you that maybe you were expecting or maybe you're about to receive. Okay, so it's a good thing to manifest extra money coming into you. And so that's what we have. So the newest entrance here, where it comes to new cycles that are happening. Mars in Aries just entered. Okay, so that's something brand new there. We've been knowing about Neptune and Saturn already. So for Aries, we have the Sun, we have Saturn, we have Neptune, we have Mars now. Okay, that's all in Aries. So a lot of action happening, especially, with the frequencies that are happening. Okay, the solar storms and all of that that's happening. It's been very. I have this one lady that I don't know anything about that. Okay, but all about the G storms and the solar storms, and she's been reporting a lot of black spikes. And when it's a black spike, that means that there's a jump in there's a jump in the what you call it, a frequency, the frequency jump, like quantum jumping. And when the black spikes are there, then this is like high peaks, things that are happening really high. And so these are like these solar G storms, that are happening. And so it's a good time to manifest. Okay. Let me see what else is brand new here. Um, no, not that one. That's all. The recent most entrance right now is Mars in Aries. So we don't have anything else. We're waiting for Uranus and Gemini to jump in there. Right now it's a very last degree in Taurus. Okay, at 29 degrees of Leo. That's where we have Uranus now. Okay, it's wrapping it up, getting ready for Gemini to turn in there. So there's a lot of things that are happening right now with either uh, something to do with Hollywood, something to do with celebrities, something unexpected with celebrities, okay? Um, or leaders as well. Okay, let me see. It is in the 10th house of public participation. And the the phrase there is I relate with the world. Okay, the 10th house. And there's, it's so interesting because I was looking at the geodetic maps, which is the frequency of what is happening around the world. And in Italy, Pluto was passing through there, or not passing through there. The frequency there, it had Pluto, and then in the sign of Leo, which some sort of transformation in Italy, and it had to do with Juno. It had to do with marriages. There could have been divorces or deaths or endings or loss, all of that. And it's interesting that now here you with Uranus and Taurus at 29 degree of Leo. Okay, there's this elevation here in the 10th house. Okay, ruling fathers, grandfathers, billionaires, um, people on the up and up, people that have elevated here with Uranus and Taurus, and coming together with the part of fortune. Wow, that's big. Something, it could be, I gotta say, today's a great day to play the lottery. Okay. This is kapow energy for me. Okay. When you see Uranus and the part of fortune coming together in Taurus has to do with wealth. Okay. And so I haven't even checked, like the mega or the super lotto or or whatever lottery. I have an app, and it has their, like, what are the days to play, like Mondays or Wednesdays or Fridays, or and so I haven't really been looking. I recently won $21, so I do gotta say that was the highest number I've ever won in the lottery. And I only bought two tickets. I think I took a chance, and that's because I heard a download, and I heard mega, like play the mega, and I did at my Lucky Chinese store, and I won $21. So I was just like, what? That's crazy. So that motivated me to play more, but not like all crazy or anything, because I don't play all crazy or anything, Once in a while I'll play, but this is my year as a personal five for me. It's about gambling, taking a chance, taking a risk, traveling, dating, just feeling lucky, or and being more beautiful as well. Like beautifying myself, and it's so aligned because it's not like I said I want to beautify myself this year, And I've been doing things that I've been noticing, like, wow, you look beautiful today. Wow, your hair is so healthy. Wow, like, wow, you look different today, And I've been noticing that. And that probably has to do with the personal number. Because it also has to do with what I'm taking. Like, I'm taking these juices and these, vitamins, and really taking care of my health, right? It could be something like that, and my face is more glowy or something, and I'm losing weight as well, and that could be part of it as well. And my hair more shiny or something, just taking care of it. But it was not a strategy of I'm going to be more beautiful this year. I think that's more through the frequency of the personal five, that's aligned with everything that I'm doing. And it's just more noticeable now with the personal five. And so that rules beauty as well, you know. So anyway, so this is what's going on. I mean, I don't honestly, you things can come up when it comes to business, doing resets, okay, religion factors. Um, I love the Uranus part of fortune in Taurus. Okay, that's a fortunate time. Maybe you might feel a little bit more fortunate right now. Maybe you have some extra money. Maybe you want to take a trip. Maybe because Uranus also has to do with travel. So you might want to travel somewhere you wanted to travel before or something, or you might want to travel somewhere local, or maybe buy yourself a car or something, you know what I mean? Because Uranus also rules wheels, okay? And, the part of fortune is maybe getting approved for a bank loan or of some sort. Okay. That's going to help you. And that's because you elevated. Okay. Where the part of fortune in Taurus is at the degree of wealth is because you elevated. It's on the 10th house. Okay. Or you might get support from a grandfather or a father or a billionaire or somewhere, that people are just supporting you. Like, yes, approve her. Yes, give her that car. Yes, give her that home. Anything like that could happen. Okay. Anything like that could happen. So that's what we have for today. I hope you guys enjoy the podcast. If you guys did enjoy it, like it, share it, tell your friends, tell your people, because we're just starting here at the podcast at Podbean and trying to get more people to listen to it so they can have more awareness. Because when you are aware, when you know better, you do better. That's what Maya Angelou said. Okay. She was quoted with saying that. And isn't that true? When you know better, you do better, right? And when you don't know better, you make mistakes. Okay. So I'm trying to, help you guys to avoid mistakes. Okay. And become more intelligent. This is a podcast of the intelligence for your life, for my life, for everybody's life. And this is how we can make better decisions, become more wise. And I don't see anything too crazy, to tell you the truth. I really do not. I think it's kind of, ever since the ceasefire, I think things kind of mellowed down. And I don't see something too, you know, I don't see it like, oh, it's impacting Pluto, or it when it's in Aquarius, and it's semi-sextiles Capricorn there, so they get along very well. They're Capricorn Aquarius, and so I don't see anything like that. We do got the Mars in Aries that just entered, so we might feel a little bit more fired up to take action, and this is historical as it comes with Saturn and Neptune. Okay, very historical times. So hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. And also, if you like a reading, you can head over to my website, which is www.starzenith33.com. And there's plethora of readings on there that you can purchase if you like, if you're feeling in the need to get more information on your life, not on the collective. It's more tailored reading towards you, or just subscribe over there. And I'm going to be sending newsletters every month, and things that I do not say on the podcast. Okay, this is only for my private subscribers, and it's for free. Okay, as long as if you sign up, you're going to be getting this every month, and new asteroids coming in and how they affect us, and going into astrocartography as well, and what's going on and all of that. So, and all of that is free if you subscribe. Okay, so anyway, I hope you guys are having a great day, and I will talk to you guys later.